Hey everyone. I'm Bob, Nico's assistant. In this video, I'm going to show you what I think is the most beautiful strings library on the market at the moment. But first, a disclaimer. This is my opinion, and my opinion only. It is based on the music that I write, and the projects that I'm currently working on. If you get easily triggered by tastes and opinions that are different from yours, you may want to stop watching this video now. Right. Let's get to it. When some beautiful people from Vienna asked me if I wanted to take a look at one of their libraries, I thought, why not? To be quite honest, I had never really been wowed by the demos found on their website. Their sampling approach is way too perfect for the sound that I am usually going for. They are awesome for classical composition mockups, but I never really thought about them for film music. I'm not ashamed to say that I was wrong. I'm of course talking about Vienna Symphonic Library, also known as VSL. And the library that I'm talking about is synchronized appassionata strings. A whopping 76 string players. 21st violins, 22nd violins, 14 violas, 12 cellos, and 10 basses. All these deliver the larger-than-life cinematic sound that I'm after, while retaining detail and definition. This is not a blur fest, like many other very large strings libraries on the market today. If you are familiar with my videos, you know that I have many strings libraries. More than 60 at the moment. You also know that I nearly always layer them. I rarely use, if ever, a strings library without layering it with another one. Appassionata is different in this regard, as for the first time that I'm using a library, my first thought was, oh, this is the one that I won't need to layer. I like these so much, that they are now part of my current template, which is the one that loads when I turn on my machine. They are even at the top of it. I've divided them into long articulations, short ones, other articulations, and ensemble patches. This template is in a disabled state, but once I enable the tracks, as you can see, everything is controlled by expression maps. The Synchron player is very different than Contact. If, like me, you like to tweak stuff until the project deadline is nearly over, you will be in paradise. You have a CC for everything. From legato blur to vibrato crossfade. Of course, there's a learning curve if you are new to the VSL ecosystem, but the flexibility it offers is well worth the effort. You get full control on the envelope, the tuning, and the sample stretch. The icing on the cake are the out-of-the-box settings. It is already pre-EQ'd. You also have the Synchron stage convolution reverb built in. You can of course turn it off, but I don't. I like this room hell of a lot. Lastly, you have an algorithmic reverb for the tail. And the good people at VSL already provide us with a few presets. All the examples that you are going to hear now are completely not processed. Everything is out of the box, using the VSL default settings for EQ and reverb. This is the tone that I have been searching for a long time, coupled with a great level of control. I am not a big fan of this new wave of pad-like scoring styles. Some call it Scandi style. If anything, it helps me fall asleep. When listening to a score, I want a strong theme that sticks, a sweeping large strings section, and in this regard, synchronized appassionata strings deliver more than I thought it would. Now, I talked for 5 minutes about this library, and we haven't even heard it yet. I know that my voice could convince you of pretty much anything, but let's have a listen. First, you will hear the long articulations, and then some of the short ones. It's repetitive on purpose, as I want you to focus on the tone of these strings. And keep in mind that these are the settings out of the box, and that there isn't any external processing. After that, you will hear a real track, with appassionata used in context. Also, to show you how flexible the library is, and how dry it can get, I have turned off both built-in reverbs, the convolution, and the algorithmic. It's so dry, you probably will ask for a glass of water with it. Let's now listen to synchronized appassionata strings in context. This is the kind of music that I like to write. First, we have a part using only the long articulations. Then, a part featuring all kinds of shorts, from spiccato to staccato. Lastly, we will hear the library blended with other non-VSL orchestral libraries. This will give you an idea of how well it could blend with what you already have. This track has been mixed, and mastered too. But I didn't do a full mix. Instead, I've only processed the buses, not the individual sections. You can see here the only plugins that I have used. For example, I've replaced the library algorithmic reverb with cinematic rooms in order to have all the sections go through the same one. I hope you enjoy the track that was written in a single evening. I'll catch you right after it, to give you my conclusion on VSL synchronized appassionata strings. My conclusion is that this library earned its spot in my template. As much as I like my layers, this one gives me the big sound that I want, and the workflow speed that I need. There are of course some downsides. No library is perfect. For example, there are no legato transitions in the basses. A bummer, but not something that I can't work around. Speaking of the legato transitions, even though there are several available, most are a bit too bumpy for my taste, and they require some programming magic using the various CCs. This is also not your bread and butter library that will fit any scenarios. But for the niche it fills, it is the most beautiful strings library that I have in this particular domain. In my opinion, nothing comes close in the oversized string sections game. Huge sound, yet very defined. I will of course continue to use my go-to libraries, as they each have their strengths. Yet, I can't foresee any scenario that would require me to layer a paginato with anything else. Now stop watching videos and go write some great music.